Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Waha, Racha, Quadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Grand Millstone who rule well. Peace and blessings, salutations to the hopefully elect of Israel. I'm going to start this lesson by playing off this quick about 1 minute clip. All right, so let me just play this.
And if Paul was going to pervert Christianity, we'd have an epistle of Paul to the Ethiopians, an epistle of Paul to the Egyptians, an epistle of Paul to the Hutus and the Tutsis.
Right.
We don't have that. There's no epistle of Paul
right.
to the Arabs. There's no epistle of Paul to the Babylonians.
Exactly.
There's no epistle of Paul to the Edomites.
Yeah, right.
Paul
right.
could have very easily perverted Christianity.
Right. And
the Paul bashers are just idiots for not seeing that.
And of course, in other books, Paul definitely says that the Edomites are vessels fit for destruction.
Of destruction,
yeah.
right.
He does not include them among the Israelites.
And he doesn't include any nation that's non-Israelite.
Right.
Every one of those people Paul wrote an epistle to were dispersed Israelites.
Right, right. And he excludes the descendants of Ishmael, which is today's Arabs, right?
Absolutely. He excludes them, explicitly excludes them.
Right. So,
Right. So that's about it, with the clip. But now they're Edomites, so they don't understand the Bible to the extent that Yahweh Yahushua has blessed us with. But they understand that Apostle Paul was writing to Israelites, all right, that were scattered. Look up the word scattered in the Bible, all right, like as a key word, and you'll see so many scriptures talking about Israel being scattered among the nations. All right, you can type in scattered among, you can type in scatter among, you can type in among the heathen, and there's going to be so many scriptures that pop up, man. So many that we can't even get them. But what I did is I typed in scattered among, because like I said, it depends how you type it. You can type in scatter among, because if you type in scatter, there's going to be way more precepts, obviously, because sometimes when it talks about Israel being scattered, it doesn't say scattered. It says, and I will scatter you among, or scattered amongst, or, different wording. But if you just look up scatter or anything about Israel being scattered, there's going to be tons of precepts on it. And that's hyperbolic, but you get the point. All right. So I specifically look up scattered among, and I got 16 results. And they're all talking about being scattered. And I'm actually, like I said, it depends on how you word it. Because if you word it scatter among, or among the heathen, or I will scatter you, or all these different ways you can word it, there's going to be so many more precepts, man. All right, so many more. But let me just get something real quick. I think it's in Peter regarding Apostle Paul, and it's in Peter. This is 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 15. And account that the long suffering of our Lord is salvation, even as our beloved brother Paul also according to the wisdom given unto him hath written unto you, as also in all his epistles, speaking in them of these things, in which are some things hard to be understood, which they that are unlearned and unstable wrest, as they do also the other scriptures, unto their own destruction. All right, so people don't understand. It's a major stumbling block. All right. So let's just type in scattered among. Like I said, if you type in scattered amongst, or scatter among, or different ways you can word it, there'll be more precepts, but this is what I typed in, scattered among. This is Psalms 44:11. Thou hast given us like sheep appointed for meat, and hast scattered us among the heathen. I'm just going to get some key ones that pop out to me through the Spirit. Ezekiel 36:19, and I scattered them among the heathen, and they were dispersed through the countries according to their way, and according to their doings I judged them. Joel 3:2, I will also gather all nations, and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, which is Yahweh Shaphat, right, for judgment, and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations, and parted my land. Because right now you got heathens living in that land. You may have some Jake, if any Jake at all. You may not have any Jakes, but if you do, for some reason, it's very, very few. All right. I wouldn't be surprised if there's literally no Israelites there. But the vast majority indefinitely is heathens. Mainly those people that call themselves Jewish are mainly Amalekites from the nation of Edom. Zechariah 7:14, but I scattered them with a whirlwind among all the nations whom they knew not. Thus the land was desolate after them, that no man passed through nor returned. For they laid the pleasant land desolate. 2 Ezra 2:7, let them be scattered abroad among the heathen. Let their names be put out of the earth, for they have despised my covenant. So, let me just. That was heavy. I gotta bookmark that for later. I mean, the whole Bible from Genesis to Revelations is heavy, but you get the point. Tobit 13:3. Confess him before the Gentiles, ye children of Israel, for he has scattered us among them. All right, and Israel, being among the heathen, became like unto the heathen. All right, they forsook their, our own covenant, and they joined the heathen. Read 1 Maccabees 1. All right, it makes that very clear. Gentile is not a nation. There's no nation. There's 18 nations in the Bible. Not a single one of them are named Gentile. Okay, a Gentile is a term referring to heathens, but also Israelites that fell off our heritage and went and followed these heathen customs. All right, verse 4, there declare his greatness and extol him before all the living, for he is our Lord, and he is the God of our Father, Salakia, and he is the God our Father forever, Salakia, and he will scourge us for our iniquities, and will have mercy again, and will gather us out of all nations among whom he has scattered us. All right, let me bookmark that also. There's a lot more depending how you word it, but this is Baruch 2:4. Moreover, he hath delivered them to be in subjection to all the kingdoms that are round about us, to be as a reproach and desolation among all the people around about, where the Lord hath scattered them. Baruch 2:13. Let thy wrath turn from us, for we are but a few left among the heathen, where thou hast scattered us. 2 Maccabees 1:27. Gather those together that are scattered from us, deliver them that serve among the heathen, look upon them that are despised and abhorred, and let the heathen know that thou art God. All right, I'm pretty sure that's Judah Maccabee talking to Yahweh, but I'm not sure. Which, I don't know why I don't have that highlighted. Let me get that. But let me play this one more time.
And if Paul was going to pervert Christianity, we'd have an epistle of Paul to the Ethiopians, an epistle of Paul to the Egyptians, an epistle of Paul to the Hutus and the Tutsis.
Right.
We don't have that. There's no epistle of Paul to the Arabs. There's no epistle of Paul to the Babylonians.
Exactly.
There's no epistle of Paul to the Edomites.
Yeah, right.
Paul could have very easily perverted Christianity.
Right. And
the Paul bashers are just idiots for not seeing that.
And of course, in other books, Paul definitely says that the Edomites are vessels fit for destruction.
Of destruction, right.
He does not include them among the Israelites.
And he doesn't include any nation that's non-Israelite.
Right.
Every one of those people Paul wrote an epistle to were dispersed Israelites.
Right. And he excludes the descendants of Ishmael, which is today's Arabs, right?
Absolutely. He excludes them, explicitly excludes them.
Right. So,
Right. So, ultimately, although you got to pick the meat out of that, because so-called black people are Israelites, all right? So-called Negroes are known as African Americans. Afro-Americans are not the same people as Hamites, all right? Let me get that real quick. This is the Zondervan Compact Bible Dictionary. I'm going to go to Ham. All right, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans are the true Israelites that the Bible speaks of. Those people that are mainly dwelling in the land, the vast majority of them are from Amalek, which is a tribe from Esau, Edom. Okay, which Esau was the elder brother of Jacob, the son of Isaac. All right, and specifically, Israelites are those who descend from so-called Negro and Indian descent from their father's seed line, which is their patrilineal. Okay, so there are Israelites, since we've already very, very well solidified, and once again, you can word it differently, like when you type in the keyword up here, when you press this magnifying glass, and you can type in different things like scatter, or scatter among, or scattered among, or amongst the heathen, and stuff like that. There's going to be more results, and, Salakia, we've solidified that Israelites were scattered among the heathen, so they even look like the heathen now. All right, But if your father's lineage, your patrilineal, through the father's seed line goes back to a tribe, you're an Israelite. Okay, and now obviously we can't trace that, but we go by the Spirit now. All right, it's spiritual. If you come into this truth, you understand that Yahweh and Yahushua are the names, you got the doctrine, you're doing the work, all this and that, you're an Israelite. All right, because only the 144,000 and 1/3 are going to wake up. All right, the elect of the nation of Israel. Because Israel is a chosen nation, but inside that chosen nation is chosen people. You know, inside that holy nation is holy people, the elect. Okay. Now many are called, but few are chosen. Don't get it twisted. So there's going to be people that are called and come into this truth, but they're going to fall out. All right, they're going to bug out. So let me just get that real quick before we move on with the precepts. Matthew 22:14. For many are called, but few are chosen. Okay. So let me try and get Ham here real quick. All right, this is the Zondervan Compact. Just in case you've never heard of it, the Zondervan Compact Bible Dictionary. All right, this is page 213. It says, it's under H, it says Ham, all right, which was the son of Noah, right? He had Ham, Shem, and Japheth. Israel comes out of Shem. Which is why when those fake Jews say anti-Semitic, first of all, his name is Shem. It'd be Shemitic. And second of all, there's like 8 nations that come from Shem, so that doesn't make sense. Yes, they come from Shem, but they're not from Jacob, they're from Esau, all right? They're still Hebrews also, because Hebrews are those that come from Abraham, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. But this is page 213 of the Zondervan Compact Bible Dictionary. It says Ham, the youngest son of Noah, born probably about 96 years before the flood, and one of 8 persons to live through the flood. He became the progenitor of the dark races, not the Negroes, but the Egyptians, Ethiopians, Libyans, and Canaanites. All right. So what we have to understand is, I mean, we got to pick the meat out of that, of course, because we understand that dark skin is really a blessing and pale skin is leprosy, a curse. But it just clearly said that the Negroes are not the same as the ancient Egyptians are. That you know, the ancient Egyptians are dark. Apostle Paul was mistaken for an Egyptian. Moses was mistaken for an Egyptian. So they were dark. All right, so now we've established that. This is James chapter 1, verse 1, which James was an apostle, right? James, a servant of Yahweh and of the Lord, Yahushua HaMashiach, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad, greeting. Let me read that one more time. This is James chapter 1, verse 1. James, a servant of Yahweh and the Lord Yahushua HaMashiach, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad, greeting. 12 tribes of what? Ishmael, Edom, Elam, Ham, which Ham, many nations came out of Ham, but you get the point, all right? It's talking about Israel, the 12 tribes of Israel. Right below it says Acts 2 and 5 and Deuteronomy 32 and 26. There's many times where they put precepts under it and they don't connect. But there's sometimes where it's really heavy and they do connect, sometimes because they don't understand the truth like Yahweh Yahushua has blessed us with. But let me just see what Acts 2 and 5 says real quick. See if it's actually what we're talking about here. Okay. I'm gonna give him that one. That one was good. This is Acts chapter 2, verse 5. And it says, and there were dwelling at Jerusalem Jews, devout men, out of every nation under heaven. That was good. That was good. That was Yahweh Yahushai. That was Yapa. That was Yapa, which means beautiful. All right. The other one was Deuteronomy. I think it said, Salaki, let me go back to it. I think it said 32 and 26, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just check real quick. Yep. This is Deuteronomy 32 and 26. I said I would scatter them into corners. I would make the remembrance of them to cease from among men. All right, now scattered among corners, in the Bible it uses a metaphor as the 4 corners, all right, representing the whole planet, okay? Now let's go to the curses, which is Deuteronomy 28. Let me read verse 15 just so you can get an idea. Deuteronomy 28:15, but it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of Yahweh thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. All right. Now this is Deuteronomy 28. It's the same chapter. Verse 64. And Yahweh shall scatter thee among all people from the one end of heaven, or Salakia. Deuteronomy 28:64. And Yahweh shall scatter thee among all people from the one end of the earth even unto the other. And there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. And now that just represents idols, but a major one that we like to use for wood is Christianity, and for stone, Islam. All right, we are Israelites according to the Bible. We are the real chosen people, the Jews. All right, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, specifically those that descend from so-called Negro and Indian descent from their father's line. Okay, so we've already solidified that, but let's go on. You know, because I want to get the scripture on the four corners. Let me go to Matthew 24, I believe. That's where we're going to head next. Because you Christians like to play games, man, but we're going to go right for the throat with that spiritual blade. Spiritual blade, all right? We're not getting carnal. We're going to go to that throat with that spiritual blade. All right, let me get that first. Really, it's a sword. It's known as a sword. The scriptures... We're going to take that two-edged sword and we're gonna slice your head off, man. Not literally, all right? This is all spiritual, man. I'm going to prove it with the scripture. This is Hebrews chapter 4, verse 12. For the word of Yahweh is quick and powerful and sharper than any two-edged sword, piercing even to the dividing asunder of soul and spirit and of the joints and marrow, and is a discerner of the thoughts and intents of the heart. So the word is even sharper than a two-edged sword, man. So we're going to spiritually, basically in the spirit, we're conquering, man. We're taking the planet over, because that's not physically going to happen until Yahweh Shai, our Lord, returns. All right, Yahweh's son, Yahweh Shai. All right, the true name of the Heavenly Father is Yahweh. Yah, meaning he. Hawa, meaning exists. Yahweh Shai, Yah, he. Yahweh Shai, delivers. All right, or deliverer. And Yahweh can also mean he is or he exists. All right. But right now we're conquering spiritually. We're spiritually, we're spiritually putting armor on and having swords in our hands and going around slicing and dicing you devils, man, and you other nations. All right. All the false doctrines that you've been pushing, because you Christians love playing games, but what's the end game? What's the end game of the Bible? That there's going to be some people that are going to be saved, right? Not everybody, some people, right? And also that there's a new covenant, right? So we're going to get into those two big things, because if we can prove right there that these two big vocal points are Israelites, then that basically cuts it, doesn't it? At that point, not trying to sound proud or boastful, because I don't claim to be smart or wise, but through the spirit and power of Yahweh Yahushua, we're ripping down strongholds, man. Which is actually a scripture on that. This is spiritual warfare, man. If I could, actually, I think it says strongholds. This is 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 3. For though we walk in the flesh, we do not war after the flesh. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through Yahweh to the pulling down of strongholds, casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalted itself against the knowledge of Yahweh, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Hamashiach. All right, so the weapons of our warfare are not carnal. Should be one more. It's also in the New Testament by Paul, Apostle Paul. This is Ephesians chapter 6, verse 10. Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of Yahweh, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles or the wilies of the devil. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Wherefore take unto you the whole armor of Yahweh, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all, to stand. All right. So now let's get Matthew 24 and 31. It says, Matthew 24 and 31, and he shall gather his, Salakia. Matthew 24 and 31. And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds. Now, who is the elect? What is the elect? The elect is the 144,000 and the 1/3 of the nation of Israel. Can we prove it? Absolutely. All right, let's head to that. We're going to go to Revelation 7 because that's the end game. That's where it talks about him. Right? Basically, a way to put it, what we're doing is, if we can prove that the people that are saved at the end, when Esau's world is over, or as you Christians say, the end of the world, Armageddon, right? When that happens, if we can prove who's saved is all Israelites, and we can prove that the new covenant's only for Israelites, then that's basically the two beams, basically, so to speak, that are holding up your whole complex. The two pillars, man. And if we can destroy those pillars of false doctrine, that it's for everybody based off the new covenant and who's going to be saved at the end, like who it talks about at the end being saved, then it's going to make the whole rest of your building or your palace of false doctrine collapse. All right? We're going to destroy the supporting beams, if you get what I mean. Because we can pull out scriptures all day long. You're not gonna understand, because you're going to be like, you're going to see all these scriptures, because we can pull out all the scriptures, because there's a lot of scriptures saying it's only for Israel. But because you guys will see that and you'll be like, well, okay, what about the new covenant, or what about Revelations 7 and 9? That great multitude. What about Jew nor Greek? Jew nor Greek. Like I said, read 1 Maccabees 1. All right, read 1 Maccabees 1. 1 Maccabees, the first chapter, and you should be able to understand that they're Hellenized Jews. They're Jews that have disconnected from their heritage and clinged on to the Greeks. All right, just like our people do now in other nations, man. It's been happening for a long time. It's nothing new. All right, but let me get this real quick, because if our people don't know who they are, they're gonna cling to whoever is near to them, man. This is Jeremiah, I believe it's 17 and 4. And thou even thyself shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee, and I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not, for ye have kindled a fire in mine anger which shall burn forever. So did Jeremiah end up going into slavery, or did he, forget who he was? Not as Jeremiah, so that proves reincarnation, but that's going to fly over a lot of people's heads. All right, but that's a whole nother topic. All right, so he told Jeremiah, which was a prophet, a major prophet, that even Jeremiah is going to discontinue from the heritage of knowing that there is Israelites and all that. All right, we already read that the name is going to cease. The real Israelites have been waking up for decades now, but people still don't really, seem to acknowledge it. But there's going to be a time soon when they're going to have to acknowledge that, they're going to have to acknowledge that we're the Israelites. This is Hosea 1 and 10. Yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea, which cannot be measured nor numbered. And it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, ye are not my people, there it shall be said unto them, ye are the sons of the living power. All right? So now, let's head to Revelations chapter 7. I'm going to start at verse 4, because we're going to get right to the point. We're going to go right for the jugular, right? And I heard the number of them which were sealed, and there were sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Israel. So now from verse 5 to verse 8, it's naming 12 tribes, right? It says Judah, Reuben, Asher, Naphtali, Gad, Salakia. It says Judah, Reuben, Gad, Asher. Let me just read through it. How about verse 5? But I'm, just to prove what I'm saying. Of the tribe of Judah were sealed 12,000. So that's one. Of the tribe of Reuben were sealed 12,000. 2 of the tribe of Gad were sealed 12,000. 3 of the tribe of Asher were sealed 12,000. 4 of the tribe of Naphtali were sealed 12,000. 5 of the tribe of Manasseh were sealed 12,000. That's 6 of the tribe of Simeon were sealed 12,000. That's 7 of the tribe of Levi were sealed 12,000. That's 8 of the tribe of Issachar were sealed 12,000. That's 9 of the tribe of Zebulun were sealed 12,000. That's 10 of the tribe of Joseph were sealed 12,000. That's 11 of the tribe of Benjamin were sealed 12,000. That makes 12. 12,000 times 12 is 144,000. The 144,000 is 12,000 men from each tribe. All right, and this great multitude is Israelites, the 1/3 remnant that's going to be saved, because 2/3 of our people are going to die on this side, but all Israel is going to ultimately be saved. All right, Paul wrote about that in Romans 10 and 11. All right, the great multitude is the 1/3 of Israel. All right, men, women, and children. And once again, can we prove that? Yes, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Yahushua, we can. All right. This is Revelations chapter 7, verse 9. After this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude, which no man could number, of all nations and kindreds and people and tongues, stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes and palms in their hands. Now, if you lack understanding, that's going to sound like everybody. Let's read verse 10. And cried with a loud voice, saying, Salvation to our power, which sitteth upon the throne, and unto the Lamb. So now how are we going to prove that these are Israelites? Well, let's turn literally 2 chapters before, all right, Revelations chapter 5, verse 9 and 10. It's the same verses as Revelation 7. And that's not a coincidence, all right? This is Revelations 5 and 9. And they sung a new song, saying, Thou art worthy to take the book and to open the seals thereof. For thou wast slain and hast redeemed us to God by thy blood out of every kindred and tongue and people and nation. We were scattered and even looked like other nations. Verse 10, And hast made us unto our God kings and priests, and we shall reign on the earth. So who was told that they are going to be a kingdom of priests? It says right below, Exodus 19 and 6. Let's go to Exodus 19 and 5 is where we're going to start. Exodus 19 and 5, which was the second book of the Bible. It's Exodus chapter 19, verse 5. Now therefore, if ye will obey my voice indeed, and keep my covenant, then ye shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people, for all the earth is mine. So if you're above all people, and you're connected to Yahweh, that means you're reigning in the earth, doesn't it? All right. And also we can get this real quick too before we read on. Verse 6. This is 2nd Esdras, chapter 6, verse 7 to 9. Then answered I and said, What shall be the parting asunder of the times? Or when shall be the end of the first and the beginning of it that followeth? And he said unto me, From Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau, which was symbolic. All right, that was heavily symbolic. Verse 9, and here's why. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. All right, so Esau is about to go down, man. We're in Esau's end right now. All right, which is Esau, Edom is the so-called white race collectively. All right. And we say collectively because we understand that there's Israelites that will look like so-called white people. And we understand that there's even Edomites that will have dark skin from, rape and so-called mixing and all that, right? But collectively, the Edomites, Esau, Edom is the so-called white race, all right? And all nations are going into slavery, but Edom's going to get the worst. They're going to get the worst out of all nations, all right? So now going back to this. So Jacob's about to rule, all right? So this is Exodus 19 and 6. And ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests and an holy nation. All right, holy means separate or severed, right? Let me get that. There's a lot of scriptures talking about Israel being holy and being separate and being above everybody, and Yahweh only worrying and loving Israel, and Yahweh, being with Israel only and all that, man. Salvation only being for Israel, but we're attacking those jugular, man. Or we're attacking that jugular. We're attacking the supporting beams of your false doctrine. This is Leviticus 20 and 26. And ye shall be holy unto me, which means separate. The word there is Kodash, all right, in the true ancient Hebrew, not in the Yiddish. For I, Yahweh, am holy, and have severed you from other people that ye should be mine. What does severed mean? Cut, right? Cut apart, basically separated. If you were to, let's say, like a zombie movie. If you were to get bit in the arm and they cut your arm off, your arm got severed from your body. All right, it got severed, it got separated, cut off. All right. So this is Exodus 19 and 6, and ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests and an holy nation. All right. Now who is Yahweh speaking to? Let's read on. In the second part of the 6th verse. These are the words which thou shalt speak unto the children of Israel. Not the children of Edom, not the children of Ishmael, not the children of Elam, not the children of Cush, not the children of Ammon, the children of Israel. All right. So let's go back to Revelation 7. All right. So we just proved there that those people are Israelites. All right. By reading Revelations 5, 9 to 10, and by reading Exodus 19, 5 to 6. All right. But now, remember it said that multitude. Let's read Zechariah 13. This is Zechariah 13 and 8. And it shall come to pass that in all the land, saith Yahweh, 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die, but the third shall be left therein. Verse 9, and I will bring the third part, so the 1/3, through the fire, and will refine them as silver is refined, and will try them as gold is tried. They shall call on my name, and I will hear them. I will say, it is my people, and they shall say, Yahweh is my God. All right? So those are Israelites. 144,000, Salakia, and the 1/3. All right? And that has been solidified. But even just to show you, because you Christians are so oblivious to reality, to facts, to the scriptures. You don't understand the scriptures. You don't even want to know the scriptures, man, because when we're teaching you, you plug your ears spiritually, man. All right, this is Matthew chapter 1, verse 21. This is literally the first page of the New Testament. Matthew 1 and 21. The first chapter. Matthew 1, let me read verse 1 first. Matthew 1 and 1. The book of the generation of Yahushai HaMashiach, the son of David, the son of Abraham. All right. Verse 2, Abraham begot Isaac, and Isaac begot Jacob, and Jacob begot Judah and his brethren. All right. And then it goes on to trace all the way from Judah, all the way down through the father's line, proving that you are what your father's line goes back to. All right, and that this is one out of many, many examples of that. Now let's go to verse 16. And Jacob begat Joseph, the husband of Mary, of whom was born Yahushai, who is called Hamashiach. All right, so Yahushai can trace he could have at the time, his father's lineage all the way back to Judah, right? And specifically David, because David came out of Judah down the line, and then Solomon was after Judah and so on, right? So Yahushai was from the tribe of Judah. Let's also get this, Hebrews 7 and 14. So we understand that Yahushai was from Judah, which is where they derive the word Jew, Judah, all right? Jew can also be referring to the southern kingdom, all right? The southern kingdom is Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, and the northern kingdom is Ephraim, Manasseh, Simeon, Reuben, Gad, Asher, Zebulun, Naphtali, Reuben. Okay, hold on. Salakia. So you got Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. Judah, Benjamin, Levi. All right, the southern kingdom. Then you got Ephraim, Manasseh, Reuben, Gad, Asher, Naphtali, Simeon, Zebulun. Salakia, I'm forgetting one. Oh my goodness. You got Ephraim, Manasseh, Simeon, Reuben, Gad, Asher, Naphtali, Zebulon. Why am I missing one? I feel like I'm missing one. Let me go back to Revelation 7. Salakia. Okay, so you got Judah, Benjamin, Levi. That's the southern kingdom. Reuben, Gad, Asher, Manasseh, Simeon, Zebulon, Ephraim, which is known as Joseph, Naphtali. Oh my goodness, Salakia. Let me just look at the chart real quick. I feel like I already named all 12, and I'm just like, I'm trying to make sure. I'm looking for a specific chart. All right, so you got Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. And then you got Simeon, Zebulon, Ephraim, Manasseh, Gad, Reuben, Naphtali, Asher, Issachar. Oh my gosh, that was it. Salakia. Because when you're naming Salakia. See, that's my fault. See, we all make mistakes. I knew I was missing one, but I kept thinking that I was repeating one, which I think I was. All right, so you got the southern and the northern kingdom. See? The southern and the northern kingdom. All right, so we just proved that. Well, it already told us that the 144,000 are Israelites, and then the 1/3 we just proved that great multitude is the 1/3 of Israel, right? Now, since we proved that, that's just going to get saved in the end game. Now that breaks one of the major beams that they could support themselves with, right? Because that shows that they're Israelites the whole time, because at the end game they were. And they could say, well, what about adoption? Getting grafted in. It doesn't work like that. It's by your father's line, man. You can't just get brought into something that's ridiculous. All right? Let me get Romans 9 and 4. This is Romans 9 and 4. Who are Israelites, to whom pertaineth the adoption and the glory and the covenants and the giving of the law and the service of Yahweh and the promises. All right? Now, Paul... let's read about Apostle Paul here. This is Romans 11 and 1. I say then, hath Yahweh cast away his people? Yahweh forbid. For I also am an Israelite, of the seed of Abraham, of the tribe of Benjamin. So he's a Jew from the tribe of Benjamin, which is from the southern kingdom. All right. So let's prove now that the new covenant is only for Israel. All right. Which it very plainly says that as well. Okay. But let me read these first. This is Romans 10 and 1. Brethren, my heart's desire and prayer to Yahweh for Israel is that they might be saved. For I bear them record that they have a zeal of Yahweh, but not according to knowledge. For they, being ignorant of Yahweh's righteousness and going about to establish their own righteousness, have not submitted themselves unto the righteousness of Yahweh. All right, now this is Romans 11 and 25. For I would not, brethren, that ye should be ignorant of this mystery, lest ye should be wise in your own conceits, that blindness in part has happened to Israel, until the fullness of the Gentiles be come in. All right, so until the Gentiles come in, right? Now here it's continuing because it says and, right? Verse 26, and so all Israel shall be saved. Those Gentiles that are coming in are Israelites that discontinued from their heritage. All right? All Israel discontinued from their heritage at one point, but because that's what Jeremiah 17 and 4 said that we would. But specifically, the northern kingdom, they probably completely, they were doing all sorts of madness. There was Jews that were calling themselves Greeks and all these other things, right? Let me read Romans 11 and 25, 26 again. For I would not, brethren, that ye should be ignorant of this mystery, so don't be ignorant of it, lest ye should be wise in your own conceits, that blindness in part has happened to Israel, until the fullness of the Gentiles be come in, and so all Israel shall be saved. All right, so the Jews that were circumcised, they didn't even look at the Israelites like, the Jews that were calling themselves Greeks. They didn't even look at them as the same people, man. All right, verse 26, and so all Israel shall be saved, as it is written, there shall come out of Zion the deliverer, and shall turn away ungodliness from Jacob. All right. Verse 27, for this is my covenant unto them when I shall take away their sins. Now it's going into the new covenant. Who is the new covenant for? Well, it basically just told you that it was for Israel, and it just told you that the Israelites, that the Gentiles that were coming in to receive salvation, all that are Israelites. But let's prove it furthermore, shall we? Let's go to Hebrews 8, because it's originally in Jeremiah 31, but it's restated in Hebrews, all right, the new covenant, who it's for. This is Hebrews chapter 8. I'll start at verse 6. But now hath he obtained a more excellent ministry, by how much also he is the mediator of a better covenant, which was established upon better promises. For if that first covenant had been faultless, then should no place have been sought for the second. For finding fault with them, he saith, Behold, the days come, saith the Lord, when I will make a new covenant. All right, so there was an old covenant, which was only for Israel. We know that. Even Christians acknowledge that. And now here's a new covenant. Hebrews 8:8. For finding fault with them, he saith, Behold, the days come, saith the Lord, when I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah. All right, so why did it separate the two? Because if you remember, after Solomon, when Rehoboam became king, he became king of Judah, all right? Because after King Solomon died, which was Yahushua, if you can receive it, all right? King Solomon was the son of King David. After King Solomon died, the southern and the northern kingdom split. Well, they split, and then they became the southern and the northern kingdom. They split, and the house of Israel is the northern kingdom, the house of Judah is the southern kingdom. So Hebrews 8:8, for finding fault with them, he saith, Behold, the days come, saith the Lord, when I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah, not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day when I took them by the hand to lead them out of the land of Egypt, because they continued not in my covenant, and I regarded them not, saith the Lord. For this is the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days. So you may be like, well, why did it say house of Israel and not house of Judah that time? It didn't say both. Why is that? I'll tell you, I'll explain that when I'm done. All right, Hebrews 8:10, for this is the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel. After those days, saith the Lord, I will put my laws into their mind and write them in their hearts, which proves the law ain't done away with. All right, we're under grace, but that just means if you make mistakes, you got to try, man. You got to try your best. And I will be to them a God, and they shall be to me a people. And they shall not teach every man his neighbor and every man his brother, saying, Know the Lord, for all shall know me, from the least to the greatest. For I will be merciful to their unrighteousness, and their sins and their iniquities will I remember no more. And that he saith a new covenant, he hath made the first old. Now that which decayeth and waxeth old is ready to vanish away. All right. So now it said, verse 10, it said, for this is the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel. So before we saw that it said, verse 8, I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah. So why did it say the house of Israel in verse 10, but it said the house of Israel and the house of Judah in verse 8? I'm gonna read it through the scriptures. You got to let the scriptures speak, man. This is Ezekiel 37. I'm going to start at verse 19. Say unto them, Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, Behold, I will take the stick of Joseph, which is in the hand of Ephraim, and the tribes of Israel his fellows, and will put them with him, even with the stick of Judah, and make them one stick, and they shall be one in mine hand. And the sticks whereon thou writest shall be in thine hand before their eyes. All right, that's going into the 12 tribe sign. All right, verse 21, and say unto them, Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, Behold, I will take the children of Israel from among the heathen. There's another scripture about them being scattered, whether they be gone, and will gather them on every side and bring them into their own land. Salakia. So Yahweh is going to bring the Israelites into their own land, right? Not a Belfort declaration, right? And that they don't even have all the tribes. They can't even stay true to their own lies, man. They're not even, like, their lies are being exposed, man. Because once you realize the truth, it's like they're not even good at lying. Like they barely cover anything up, but people still don't see what's going on, man. Verse 22, Ezekiel 37 and 22. Now this is the key point, but I'm going to keep reading because this whole thing is heavy from verse 19 to the end of the chapter. Ezekiel 37 and 22, this is the point that I wanted to make. And I will make them one nation, telling you that they were two separate nations. They were separated after that. And the land upon the mountains of Israel, and one king shall be king to them all, and they shall be no more two nations, neither shall they be divided into two kingdoms any more at all. Neither shall they defile themselves any more with their idols, nor with their detestable things, nor with any of their transgressions. But I will save them out of all their dwelling places wherein they have sinned, and will cleanse them. So shall they be my people, and I will be their God. And David my servant shall be king over them. And they all shall have one shepherd. They shall also walk in my judgments, and observe my statutes, and do them. All right, because we're going to receive those new bodies. Okay? When Jacob's ruling, when we're in our rulership, we're not going to commit sin, man. Sin is transgression of the law, 1 John 3 and 4. In Ecclesiastes 15 and 20, it tells us that no man was given license to sin. All right? Hebrews 10:26 to verse 31, it tells you basically not to abuse grace. All right? And if you sin willfully, there's no more sacrifice for you, man. So you can't just willfully eat pork. All right? You got to try hard to avoid that, man. You got to try hard to follow the Sabbath to the best you can. You got to try hard to avoid committing adultery. You gotta try it hard to keep the laws, man. Don't murder your brethren. Don't eat shrimp, etc., man. If you're a woman, don't wear pants. If you're a man, don't, be a homosexual, and that goes for women too. Don't, what else do people be doing now that's completely off? Don't smoke. All right, this is Ezekiel 37, continuing on. Verse 25, and they shall dwell in the land that I have given unto Jacob my servant, wherein your fathers have dwelt, and they shall dwell therein, even they and their children's children forever. And my servant David shall be their prince forever. Moreover, I will make a covenant of peace with them. It shall be an everlasting covenant with them, and I will place them and multiply them, and will set my sanctuary in the midst of them forevermore. My tabernacle also shall be with them. Yea, I will be their God, and they shall be my people. And the heathen shall know that I, Yahweh, do sanctify Israel, when my sanctuary shall be in the midst of them forevermore. All right. So Yahweh Shai Ratazah, that this was edifying to the elect, because that's who it's for. All right. Yahweh Shai Ratazah edifies those sheep that need to be edified and condemns those that need to be condemned. With that said, I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yad, which means always. La, which means two. Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Waha, Racha, Kwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders, a great millstone to rule well. Peace and blessing salutations to the hopeful elect of Yashar Allah, which is Israel. All right. Shalom.